Kind of, sort of.
agenda until somebody else does too. All right. Okay, so first thing, public comment on matters not on the agenda. Where is he? There he is. There, go ahead.
Good, thank you. I'm going to stand right here.
Yep, that's perfect. Work right where you are, man.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. I'm going to be passing these around. Yes, of course. Hello, I'm Matthew Zwicker, the Executive Director of the Hamilton Downtown Foundation. And just wanted to say thank you, school board members. Over the years, we've had the great privilege and opportunity to partner with you, with the students, and having them come on down to help volunteer for different events, such as for daily days or for Sunday supper. Having the football team out, the girls flag football team out, volleyball, soccer. It's just been really great to partner with Hamilton School District. So with that said, represented behind me as well here today is Mary Casper, the president of the Hamilton Downtown Foundation, as well as Mayor Dominic Merenkoff. And we are here to really excitedly present to you the opportunity about installing an ice rink into downtown Hamilton this year. So what we would like to do is we would like to bring in a 44 by 80 foot ice rink and install it somewhere downtown in Hamilton to bring out the community to downtown, to increase commerce around the area, but also to provide an opportunity for the students to play hockey and to skate on the ice rink. So with that, we are having an initiative this year. Our goal is to install a 44 by 80 foot refrigerated ice rink somewhere down Hamilton. And our proposal we would like to ask the school board to consider putting the ice rink onto the Haynes Field parking lot, which would be on the south side, not on the north side of the parking lot, but on the south side. The city is here because we were working with Amy Fox from the Parks and Rec Department, and they said that not this year that we would want to bring on a project to the city parking lot. We're looking at a few different locations, but the city is here in order to help get an ice rink to downtown Hamilton. So they are willing to help out with the excavation process on Haynes Field, the Haynes parking lot, pardon me. So our proposal for Hamilton School District today is that we would ask you for the Hamilton Downtown Foundation to utilize the Haynes Field parking lot in mid-December. We have different people, DJs Electric, they're ready to do electrical work. We would need to have a 100 amp panel breaker onto the Haynes Field parking lot. So it would be great if the board would consider allowing us to use the Haynes Field parking lot for the ice rink. And I would like to invite Mary here as well to give any comments for the ice rink.
So thank you for hearing us this evening, and we're really excited. The Hamilton Downtown Foundation has been around for about 4-ish years. And has started programs that help downtown thrive, such as the Flower Basket Program and the Banner Program representing nonprofits. We've been executing those programs really seamlessly the last few years, and we would like to make a broader community impact. And as our strategic boards, the Business Improvement District, the Hamilton Downtown Foundation, and the Hamilton Downtown Association boards collectively met, we identified this year that the foundation should be focusing on one community project. And so this is the project that we would like to bring to fruition this year. Private fundraising, grants, and donors conversations are having in order for the foundation to fund the purchase of the rink itself, as well as provide some equipment and supply lighting and things like that. Excuse me, so all of those costs are incorporated into our budget. And we are again just looking to activate a space downtown. We're this gorgeous winter town and community. And unfortunately, skiing is not accessible to a lot of families, transportation wise and for cost reasons. And so we would like to bring a community rink to have everyone to be able to enjoy downtown. And again, it helps keep dollars in our community as well, versus having people go to Missoula to skate and then dining dollars go with that, shopping dollars go with that. So it has value to our small business community, and it has value to the community at large to bring this to fruition, and we would love to partner with the school district to make that happen for this winter. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dominic Farrakhan, I'm the mayor here in Hamilton, and the city is willing to, the rink has to be very level. And so we're willing to grade the parking lot at Haynes Field, and no pressure on this group or anyone involved. We have to do it before it freezes and before there's snow all over the ground. So nothing would change if we graded that parking lot. It wouldn't affect anything, but Matthew, that's the only thing that you should probably know is the timeliness before the ground freezes.
Correct.
Okay, anybody have any questions for me? I know it's public comment, but, okay, thanks.
Perfect. So public comment, we can't do any action on that or anything like that. Meet with Dave and Christine and stuff like that, talk through it, and then you can, if it's an agenda item, we'll bring it back up and we can discuss it then. So, but thanks for the presentation. Okay. All right, any additional public comment? That's on the agenda. All right,
Oh, is that only about that?
it can be any public comment. So if you have a public comment that was just theirs, if you have a different one, you can go.
Oh, sure. Hello. I see all the board members here.
Just making sure you say your name.
Yeah.
Perfect. I will. Good evening, board members and my fellow community. My name is Joey Tenzer. I work for the HSD3 as a paraprofessional. I'm a U.S. Coast Guard veteran. I'm also a parent of a student in this district and a court-appointed guardian to an adult with disabilities. Until recently, I also served as a social emotional paraprofessional at the HSD3 middle school. And I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of all of our paraprofessionals and the students we work with every single day. As a parent, I care deeply about how children are supported in our schools, especially those with complex needs. And as a court-appointed guardian to an adult with disabilities, someone much like the students served in the ARC where I work, I know firsthand how important strong advocacy is. Being someone's voice, their support system, their bridge to success, that's not just a role, that's a responsibility. That perspective has shaped the way that I showed up in the classroom every day to do my job. I've seen how kids thrive, not just through control or compliance, but through trust, patience, and consistent human connection. Over the past 6 years, I volunteered in our schools, our district schools regularly, especially daily, which is amazing. I've seen how deeply so many people care, from teachers and paraprofessionals to secretaries, custodians, bus drivers, food service staff. This district, I know, is filled with people who want the best for all of our kids. That's why I took on the role of paraprofessional, is to be a meaningful part of this team. In the ARC, paraprofessionals like myself provide emotional, academic, and behavioral support to some of our most vulnerable students. We spend more time with these students than almost anyone else, learning their patterns, helping them self-regulate, and offering calm, consistent connection. According to the Office of Public Instruction, paraprofessionals are essential to the education team. We are expected to support learning, observe behavior, reinforce goals, and collaborate with certified teachers. But to do that well, we need systems that support us, access to information, opportunities for planning, and a space to be heard. When paraprofessionals are included, students succeed. They do. When paraprofessionals are left out, the system breaks down. I share these words, and I'm here today not to criticize, but to call attention to an opportunity. We can all do better, and we must to support both students and staff. And this starts with communication, accountability, and leadership that leads by example. I respectfully, earnestly, and with all of my heart, invite each of you to spend time in the Ark. So when I was in the military, I had a wonderful boss, my chief, a guy who worked his way up, as I know many of you here today have. You started off down here as educators, and now you might be a principal. You might be our superintendent. And so I would invite each of you to realize that when you ask someone to do a job, you should be willing and able to do it yourself. And the best way to do that is to spend a day in the shoes of the people doing that job. So I respectfully, again, invite each of you to spend time in the Ark. Not during a planned visit, but on an ordinary day. Just walk in, sit down and observe. See what's working and see what's not working. Talk to the people doing the work and listen with open minds. Because even leadership needs oversight. When those in charge go unchecked, the system suffers. Real support means showing up, possibly asking some hard questions, and being willing to grow. So I will tell you that I believe in this district. I believe in everyone here. I believe in the people in this district. And I believe that we can build a system that lifts everyone, students, staff, and the community we serve together. Thank you. And then for each of the board members, there's a little more here. There's one for each of you. And I appreciate your time.
Appreciate your time too.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, any other public comment on anything that's not on the agenda? Yes, ma'am? Please say your
Sorry,
name. That's
yeah, my name's Amy Fox, I, do you want the address or anything like that? Sorry. I'm used to city council meetings.
What's that? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a little late, I just came from soccer practice, coach. I'm here to speak, I guess, about the potential for the ice rink over by Haynes Field. I'm in my normal, I guess, in my job, I'm the parks director for the city of Hamilton. And so I would just say that I think that is a good location, if you guys are open to it. The city already, of course, takes care of some of that area adjacent to there. There's the bathrooms there that are heated and open through the winter. A lot of people are already going there in the winter when it snows because they sled off that hill on the other side of the restroom building. And so I just think that for this year is a good spot. So I guess that's all I'm going to do.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right, any other public comment on the agenda? All right, thanks everyone, appreciate it. All right, we'll keep moving along with our agenda. No special presentations. I don't think we have any student council members. Nope, no student council members. Food service, go ahead.
So beginning of this month, we cooked up about 300 pies for Apple Days. Today, we were supposed to have the undersecretary of the USDA come take a visit, but unfortunately, due to the closure of the government, he wasn't able to make it. The food service specialist from OPI did come talk to myself and a few of our farm school team. She'll be highlighting our farm school program with the state superintendent, and they'll probably do a press release following their farm school summit in Missoula. That'll be featuring our farm school team. And then we'll be doing Montana Crunch Time here at the end of the month. And our 25% of our food expenditures in October were local food. So, that's all I have. If anybody has any questions, answer.
Did they say that they would reschedule after the shutdown, potentially? 3 weeks in.
It sounded like it was Jay Stake from Team Nutrition is putting on a summit, and they had asked that they, USDA send somebody to kind of join in, and so maybe next year.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? All right, keep on rolling on technology.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for a couple of minutes of your time. A few things on the board report, in the upper right there, upper left there. Spoke with Christy Smith, our E-rate consultant this morning about moving into the next E-rate year. Currently we didn't get too far into the weeds, it was our first call on that, but apparently there will be some changes to the way that USAC funds different school districts, so this is a transition year. I'll learn more about that in the coming weeks, but we are starting to plan on what we're going to be requesting funding for through our E-rate program. The other thing that's on here that might be of note to the board is, as I reported to the governance committee a few months ago, we do have a big transition coming up for our phone system in 2028. And we have a couple of different options on how to approach that transition. And right now I'm doing some research and work with CompuNet to see what's going to be in the best interest of the district cost-wise and functionality-wise. So that's one of our current fall projects. And the other thing is you may have seen, it seems like if you're checking any kind of tech website, this one's lighting up the headlines, but today is the last update for Windows 10 operating system. We have a plan in place for that, just so the board is aware. I went ahead and purchased extended service licensing through Microsoft, a whopping $1 per device per year. Seemed like a pretty good deal for us to keep the devices that we currently have in place operating under Windows 10. Really, Windows 11 just injects a bunch of different functionality, bells and whistles, if you will. It really is not going to impact our teachers and our staff, whether or not they're on Windows 10 or Windows 11. We also are starting to encourage teachers to move to Windows 11. I visited with a couple of the staff groups already, and I'll be hopefully visiting with the rest of them here over the next couple of weeks. But essentially what we're doing is giving staff the opportunity to either stick with Windows 10, and we have the support for that with the licensing change, will change on their computer, or encouraging them to move to Windows 11. So we'll be hashing through all of those various assorted details with the individuals and our staff here over the next couple of months. But the plan is to do a slow transition into Windows 11 with this Windows 10 licensing that we currently have. We did start our first fish training. It went out last Friday. The vast majority of the staff has participated in that. This time I really threw an underhand pitch to them. It was really just a video to watch on multi-factor authentication. And the goal really was to make sure that people were all getting the emails and that it wasn't going to their trash folder like it was for a couple of staff, getting that sorted out before we actually start the genuine trainings with some of the tricky stuff that I'll be throwing at staff here over the course of the next few months. But other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions about the packet and the edits in there, but appreciate your time.
Awesome. Any questions for the technology group? All right, keep rolling on. Thank you. Finance?
I wanted to highlight a couple things in my report. First of all, the Board of Investment payment is made directly by the county, so you will see that in your warrant list. But we got about a 5% savings, so the county does pay that directly. And then I also included some information on the two loans that we have. One will be paid off in June of 2028 and the other in August of 2034. We had the count date on October 6th, and we're working on finalizing the enrollment numbers for that. And then I also wanted to note a few donations that we received. Daly Elementary received $5,000 for a field trip. The Scott Farm Greater Valley Fund donated $13,000 for teacher classroom supplies, and then $3,000 to help our free and reduced students pay any meal charges that they have. And then we also received a piano from Julie Appleberry that's going to be housed at the high school. Any questions?
Any questions for finance?
That just, I'll note that opportunity was brought to us from the Bitter Performing Arts Council. They were generous enough to allow us to take a donation, which is great. It'll be helpful for Ms. Riddell's program at the high school.
Perfect. All right, any questions about finance? All right, keep rolling on. Maintenance, custodial, transportation grounds. I saw Jamie out there talking about. You're off.
All right. Couple, just The boilers are all up and going. I mean, that time of year hit us quick. Everything seems to be mostly working well. I mean, always got a few problems with child when things got turned on, but I think we got most everything fixed on that, and what hasn't been hit will be hit this week. Starting tomorrow, we'll be putting up the softball scoreboards. We got a new softball scoreboard. We'll be getting that up. We're doing all that in-house, so we'll be doing that tomorrow. As far as Tom's side, the bus, he's been looking at you know, a plow truck. So we had one go down this year. He's got a couple options that he's pretty excited about, so we can get that up and going here soon.
Any questions for Jamie?
Just a personal curiosity, what other improvements and things are we looking at before we hold state softball next year? Over there, we're putting up the new scoreboard. What else is on the agenda?
Right now, that's our major one, is the softball scoreboard. I'm gonna have John Walker and Rob Parr take down our PA system and make sure and kind of troubleshoot that, make sure that's up and running, and then we'll kind of tackle any other projects we need going forward.
Good. Excellent. Perfect. All right. Thank you guys. Any other questions? No? All right. Can we move on to legal human resources?
Yeah, pretty standard month this past month, a lot of HR activity. I've been doing quite a bit of contract work and just keeping up to date on regulatory and statutory changes and some court decisions that have come down. Just keeping up with professional reading on that, handling a few community matters that have come through the door, and supporting the building administrators and our teachers. So,
Excellent. Yeah. Sounds good. Website communications, are you rolling that into your super board? Yep. So we'll talk about that then. Perfect. All right, I suppose you guys are up. Let's see which way did I start last time. It looks like middle school is starting this time. So
all right.
You're up.
Well, we are currently wrapping up the first night of parent-teacher conferences. My substitute counselor for Tuesdays and our regular counselor on Wednesdays will be making a 5-minute announcement in about a minute. So they're going well, not terribly heavily attended tonight, but with 6th through 8th grades, although to be fair, I didn't start counting until about 5:30, so we may have more news after that. We, as a staff, would like to give a public shout out to our new head custodian, Bobby Scalziti, and our night custodian, Abram Olson, because the two of them have been keeping our building afloat with our staffing challenges that we've had. And they've done so with such great attitudes and enthusiasm for what they're doing to help our students. And particularly Bobby during the day is making great connections with students who then want to turn around and help him. So that's been fantastic. And then the last thing I will highlight is the end of the sentence that I cut off at the bottom of the report that I submitted, and finish with we've wrapped up our fall sports, probably still going with our last football game tonight. Cross-country volleyball finished last week, and our basketball teams boys basketball begins on Monday. So the sentence at the end should have said, we look forward to continuing to develop our young student athletes with the support of our families and community.
Excellent. Okay. Any questions for principal? All right. Daily.
Yeah, gosh, we have so much going on at Daily right now, but I just wanted to bring attention to the book project that we just got back. Last spring, we collected, Jesse DeFrain, our librarian, collected used books from teachers and community members, and they were sent with the Federal Public Library help to Africa, and she just got this letter back from that project of kids really using the books, and it was just a really fun project to be involved with. And I'm just really proud of Jess for initiating that. So I want to point that out. And then our Nick was talking about our farm to school committee, and we are working on getting a permanent structure out in the garden. So that when it is super hot out there, kids want to be out in the garden. It's such a great space, but when the best time to be out there, it seems like is like the hardest time to be out there. So we'll have more information with you guys as that gets closer to what that, we're working with Tom Pitzinger, what that will look like and all the nuts and bolts of that, but we're pretty excited about that project as well.
Excellent. Any questions for Daily? All right. Washington and Special Services, go for it.
So at
Washington. They did their first homestead trip this last month and learned about different types of eggs and harvested beans. They had a lot of fun with that. They've been doing a lot of STEAM projects. And then for this next month, they're going to be working on finishing their Acadians assessments, which is the same thing that Daily uses to help like track how they're doing with their reading. And so we'll have that ready for when the report cards go out. And they're doing a big pumpkin study, which they're super excited about. And then for student services, I've just been working with different teachers, like on, their IEPs, behavior plans, spending a lot of time at the middle school in the art program, helping them out there because they are still short-staffed. Trying to help with that situation. And then I updated those numbers. I was able to count how many students we had move into Hamilton this school year from in-state and out-of-state, how many out-of-district students we have as of right now. And then we are getting another CSCT therapist through Aware at Daily, which we're really excited about, just to help with more of those kids and to provide those services. And the person at the middle school has increased her caseload quite a bit this last month, which is also exciting to get more services for those kids. And then the social workers have made over 200 contacts this last month between different parents and students.
Awesome. All right, any questions for either Washington or Special Services? All right, high school.
High school, preliminary numbers were 563 students, which is the most we've had in 5 years. And that is not including volume tech or our charter school, so definitely our numbers at high school 9-12 level are up, which is great. The end of September, first part of October is post-secondary application months, and it's FAFSA night. We also hosted the career fair here, so that's a big part of it. You can see the information in there, and then we're finishing up parent teacher conference as well. First night was tonight. We had almost 60 people when I last checked about 5:30, so after that is showing, we'll finish up tomorrow.
Excellent. Okay, any questions for high school? All right, activities?
Yeah, you can see in that board report from my longer ones, we had a busy month. Just some shout outs throughout. We had a great homecoming week. Thank you to Kaya Knisley and Celia Nicholson, the Teachers Leadership Club. Leadership Club does a great job planning all the activities, doing everything. They really make homecoming week special for them. Shout out to Jess and the Booster Club for all that they did throughout homecoming week as well. Throughout the month, we had a lot of different events. I want to thank the golf course. We hosted divisional golf there at the end of September. We have a great partnership with the golf course. And we had our girls end up winning the divisional title in the divisional girls. So congratulations to them. Also this Friday, we've got divisional cross country at the golf course at 2:00. We'll have all 13 teams there. So once again, thank you to the golf course to allow us to have that there. Throughout there, soccer teams, both of them made the playoffs. The girls are hosting Saturday at 11 versus Lone Peak, and the boys are on the road. We don't know, it's probably over, so I'll figure out where we're on Saturday for the boys soccer game. So great regular season, really excited for them going into the postseason. The volleyball and football teams are finishing up their regular seasons, and hopefully we'll be advancing to the postseason in both of those sports as well. With the cross country as well, just so you know, they'll be participating in the state cross country meet up in Missoula next Saturday. So that will be the end of their season up there. Our clubs are off and running. You can see all of their different events that they're going throughout the month. And then we hosted the state flag football as well for 2 days. We had 21 teams here at 18 games in 2 days. And congratulations to our girls for winning the first ever Class A state flag football championship. So a lot of exciting things throughout Hamilton activities, and just thank you to all the people that help with all those events, all my workers that come every day. And it's just a lot of good effort by the community. So thank you to everyone.
Awesome. Perfect. Any questions for activities? All right, I'll accept.
Yeah, it's, difference a year makes to be able to get here in October and have a count. I feel like we've got them, and I can tell you how many kids we have. And what our numbers are. It was really rough last year this time. We learned a lot about what we should do and shouldn't do, and we made some good adjustments, I think, especially for within the guidelines of how we need to report what we're doing in our school and our schools, and I feel pretty confident that those numbers there that I put in the board report are accurate. You know, of note, you know, you look at the middle school numbers, we want to be closer to 21 for the grant requirements. That's on a 3-year average of your fall and spring counts, and so we kind of learned a little bit more too about how they're going to look at that. So we have a little bit of time to adjust, so it's not the end of the world that we're a little shy on that number as of right now. You can see a lot of students are taking online classes. A lot of those students are not considered Polytech charter students. What kind of determines if you're a charter student in the online world is if you're taking half your courses or more online, and then that's how we're counting that. And then, you know, I have some notes about dual enrollment AP. With dual enrollment registration is always pretty complicated with the schools enrolling with us and with University of Montana. So Ben Nelson and Jordan Patterson will be down on the 20th and 21st next week to try to make sure that kids don't slip through the cracks, and the kids that want to take those dual enrollment classes do, and we know who is signed up so that we can pay for it with our Advanced Opportunities Grant funding. And then lately I've been working most on this Transformational Learning Phase 2 grant that I've noted here in the report, and just excited at the prospect of potentially getting that grant. It's a competitive grant. There's only 5 schools that are going to receive it, or 5 school districts in the state that are going to receive it. And I think we're positioned nicely to be in the running. So I'm optimistic and hopeful that we'll get that. And there'll be kind of more to come on that.
Awesome.
Oh, I also want to thank Mr. Shackey. He has had a lot of stuff to troubleshoot with ALC lately. MTA online stuff, just a lot of just some tech support that we've had, getting some new things up and running. And he's been incredibly supportive and helpful with all of our endeavors, and also with UM coming down to try to support their team with dual enrollment. So I'm really grateful to Mr. Shackey and all he does for us.
Fantastic. So, how's Washington working out for ALC? Good?
I think it's going really well.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, we're starting to find our groove. Janie's gonna cut a big hole in the wall for us. That's
No
what
pillars.
What's that?
No pillars.
No,
We'll talk about that later.
we're gonna have a little more, we can shut it, but we're gonna open up a space so that we can have a little more of a community between our 2 classrooms, and also free up some supervision issues that we have with our numbers. So yeah, it's going really well, and the students seem to like having access to the lunchroom, things like that, be able to get hot lunches to those alternative school kids, warm breakfast. So that's been really nice.
Oh, excellent. Perfect. So, good. Any other questions for Polytech? All right. You're up.
All right.
Go for it.
Couple of things here. So first of all, we have spent, and I mean, the district office team and the administrative team kind of going through and looking at our district staffing. And so in your packet, you can see the number of employees in each of those categories. In addition to that, just as a system of checks and balances, we have several different steps that we go through before we get to the point of somebody going on the personnel report. It was a good exercise for us to go through and just clarifying who is where and what. So we feel pretty good about the end result there and the process that we have in place. One of the things that you'll see from this point forward, if we do have a new position on the personnel report, we will have some sort of indication, a highlight, asterisk, or some other way to indicate that that's a new position and the date that the board approved that position, so that we have some more transparency with that process. So you've got both all of our coaches and activities, as well as all of our FTE in various buildings on that report. Second thing, just an update. Right now, there is a school interim funding commission, a committee that is meeting to study the adequacy of school funding. So I participated in one of the sessions. It was a remote session. My experience with the participation in that session, there was a really diverse set of views in that online, and that was the largest attended group, because it was easy for people to access. Some frustration in the process. I think a lot of people want to talk about money right away, and the committee is really focusing on trying to build what is it that you want from public education, and how do we tie funding to what you want from public education. So it's more of a process, but I'll keep you updated as things go on and if changes are talked about. The administrative team did go through, Christine took the training that the board went through and morphed some of that and highlighted some of the big ideas in the board training for the administrators as well. So we did some of that work together and really just trying to streamline our communication. That was the major key, is flow of information through me, from the board through me, and from the administrative team through me, so that we can stay on the same page and have a good working dialogue about things and things don't get lost. The last thing in the report is an update on our Rooms communication. And Rooms is a communication platform that we implemented this year. It did come with some headaches at the beginning of the year. We had lots of troubleshooting. Kelly and Stephanie Lund, our administrators, our teachers, all reaching out, trying to figure out how to help our parents and our kids get into the Rooms application and set up their accounts. And what we're seeing in general is a trend upward in this. So we're having more success with our staff activating their accounts. We're having more dialogue and sharing of information. Having this platform that is a one-stop shop for our parents, in the end, we think is a good thing. We have had to make some exceptions because of the time that some of the glitches that we had, and we needed to communicate with some of our groups, but it is a process that we'll continue to try to refine and try to improve. But I think we're trending in the right direction at this point.
So my problem with the Rooms app is that it has so much going on at the same time that it's really hard to find anything relevant for me. And even if you select the rooms that your kid's a part of, you still get, like, I can scroll from just today and I've got, that's how many messages I have to sort through to figure out if anything is relevant to even read. You know, Watson sent out a thing about state championship, that's great. The team store's open, asking the kid, but then it goes to the kids as well. They're supposed to go by his classroom. And so for me, as a parent, there needs to be a separation between what I need to see and what the kid needs to see, because I just get frustrated and lazy really quick. When I go, there's 37 messages here, I'm not gonna filter through them and read every one to figure out if any of them applies to me, when most of them don't.
Yeah, so I'll agree with that. I downloaded it and have it for both my kids, and I stopped looking at it after about a week.
It's just, the volume is just, you can't find what's relevant to you. I mean, Remind and Hey On, all those other things are kind of obnoxious in their own way too. At least you're only getting information that's relevant to you. And so you don't have to filter everything else to figure out. And I don't know if there, maybe I'm not turning the right filters on. I played with it, I've gone through, I set up the notifications that I didn't have to start with, because I was like, if you have to find your app, then open it to find if there's anything that you're not really going to open. So I set up the notifications. Then I'm getting ding, 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 and I go in and look, and kids go to my room, kids do this is for the girl, we have to practice for that. I'm like, okay, none of that's really relevant to me. If there's something relevant to me, then that should be filtered to what the parents get, you know what I'm saying?
Good, thank you.
Sounds good. think you mentioned the Kiwanis stuff.
Yeah, I had a nice positive visit with the Kiwanis Club. It was a good visit, timely visit, and, you know, while Ryan was putting together all of the stuff for the transformational learning, you know, I feel like I'm still in the mode of learning new things about our district. There's a lot to be proud of, and I expressed that to the Kiwanis Club, just the things that we have going on in all of our schools that are, you know, student-centered and giving kids opportunities from dual credit to early literacy to Jumpstart to Keystone. There's just so much good stuff going on. Sure, we have things to work on, but there was a lot of things to highlight with that group, and I think the Kiwanis members I think they were appreciative to hear all of the things that we're working on. So, yeah, it's a good visit.
Sounds good. All right. Any questions for Dale on the superintendent report, anything like that? Awesome. All right, board committees, governance was the only one we had, just basically to go over the agendas and all that kind of stuff. So on we march with all the fun. So consent agenda. So in your board report, you will see your all the
Question.
Yeah.
What committees do we have and who is on the committees that we do have?
Yeah. So right now, well, this is actually a conversation.
So what I'm working on right now is I would like to put together a finance committee that would be an executive committee, and then I would like to put together a school community relations committee, and then a teaching and learning committee would be the three that I would like to put together. I still have, those are in draft form. I still have some development to do on that and some purpose to do on some of those, and then we'll kick those out.
And that would eliminate governance committee?
No, I think we would continue to have that. These would be in addition.
Currently, what do we have?
Currently, well, currently,
After the bond, it kind of dissolved.
well, I think what happened, so basically with Dave coming on, so normally when you start the school year, we readdress all the board committees. That's actually written within there. In the past, we had buildings and grounds, we had a curriculum committee, we had a communications committee, we had all these different committees. They basically have kind of stopped them all at this stage because I wanted him to kind of think about how he wanted to have the board meet. And some more, and how we can communicate well. And so that's why, so currently we don't, the only one that really are continuing on is with governance, and that's it. But, you know, I was kind of letting him brainstorm exactly how we could do this, and then that's what he's coming up with, so then we can designate.
Who is on the governance committee?
So currently it's me, Eli, is usually what it boils down to, but anybody can show up to that, so.
Yeah, I've been reading some of our policies, I haven't gotten to all of them, and many of them we're not following. And so then the question arises, why are we not following our own policies?
Yeah.
And which ones are we allowed to ignore, and which ones do we need to? It would be a reasonable question, and if you can ignore any of them, why not ignore them?
Right. No, I think it's solid. And one of the things that is, as we've gone over time, even starting with the very first ones, like 10, 15 and stuff like that. You know, those things, we have things in there, and you probably notice annual reports and that kind of stuff. Just really simple things.
Simple, but not easy, but simple, and they're written down.
Right.
They seem useful.
Absolutely.
And we're not doing them.
Yeah, and so that was kind of, as I said, same discussion that we've had of like, you know, that we should be following them, and that's the key. And that was, you know, for a while it was basically trying to make it through the year and stuff like that, but we've had that discussion too, in terms of that, of getting back to exactly what that policy book says, because it shouldn't be just like hit or miss which policies we decide to do. It should be, we're following it, because that's actually the impetus of what the school board is supposed to do, is to work from our policies. And so that's, you know, as I said, with Dave coming in and stuff like that, that's what we're working towards, is trying to re-look at all of those things. And I know Christina's also looked at those as well, as how all those different pieces that we have been missing over time, and try to get those back into line.
And looking at our policies too with public comment, I know that we're not supposed to take action on anything in public comment, but when I had a bunch of questions for these folks, and like the paraprofessional, she seems passionate about something, but she didn't state what her problem was, right? And the general atmosphere in here is one of not discussing. And I would like, over the next couple of years, to get us to the point where we can actually discuss, because there doesn't seem to be much of a reason to be in here if we're not gonna have conversations.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we're moving towards, especially is committees, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but that's usually where a lot of that stuff happens in terms of that, because it allows for more discussion on items that will then hit the agenda. Because otherwise, if we're discussing everything on the agenda all the time, we'll be here for 6 hours. And nobody
Sure,
wants
and
to-
I'm not suggesting we do that, and some things need to be discussed and some things don't, and like,
Yeah.
there were a couple legitimate questions that we could engage in conversation with, and I should have, and I didn't have the courage to start because of the general atmosphere that I feel in here,
So,
and that's on me, I can deal with that, but like, there's some reasonable things to talk about, and like, and I think it should be your two jobs to make sure we stay focused and to control the conversation so it doesn't get out of hand, and we're not here for 6 hours.
right, I think one of the things is, I'll be honest, they were kind of late to the game to bring that to us.
Sure.
And so bringing that late to the game, even though they've already promised places and all this kind of stuff, puts us in a hard situation of which we probably shouldn't be discussing that yet, because nothing has been decided yet.
It seemed odd to me that, like, I had not heard a thing about this.
We had,
Yeah,
honestly.
and which is why I, because when I was contacted, we had already done the bulk of this.
That was one of my questions, and it
And
was
so-
embarrassing, but hey, why are we just hearing
Yes, and
about
I
this?
said, so the board needs to be aware of what you're thinking and what you're doing. So I invited them to come to public comment, and I will say this, I expressed to them, don't be frustrated by the board not asking questions, clarifying questions. They can't. They have to just listen and absorb. It's not an actionable item at that point.
Is talking taking action? Like, I don't, like, as I read the policies, we can discuss and ask clarifying questions, we just can't make a decision.
But then we would have something on that we're talking about that was not publicly noticed. And so people that wanted to come in and have a conversation about the ice rink didn't see that.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, and so that.
So do we hold a second opportunity for them to come back? We have a chance to
Yeah,
discuss.
so
That has to be
Yeah,
listed on
that
the action.
lists on
So
an
if they
action
contact
item,
you, it's
then
on
we-
the agenda, they come in, then
absolutely.
it becomes an open
And
dialogue.
that could be something we even shared, because like the first time I came in here to make public comment, I kind of went out of the chain of command, because I wasn't aware that it was a thing. And this was a few years back when Knights was talking about 8th grade basketball. I had already talked to the coach and the athletic director, but I should have gone to Miss Gray and talked to her next. And then come to, well, Mr. Corse, and then come to the board.
Right.
And people on the school board who were sitting in the room could have said, hey, this is great and thank you, but please look at our policy number 1700 and go through the proper channels, and we're off and running, and that's the most appropriate way to do it. And that wasn't said to me, and I didn't know, and that was my own ignorance, and I could have read all the policies before I showed up, but I didn't. But anyway, I think things like that can be easily communicated quickly and respectfully, so we can, like, have an atmosphere of communication, not of standing here or sitting here in silence.
Right. What if, in addition with like the paraprofessional gal, you would list that as some sort of action item for having discussion. So would it be appropriate? Is it appropriate? How is it appropriate? Is she writing an act with a group of people that is the wrong group of people?
So-
Should she be coming to you? Should she be going to principal?
So
Is that what's going on there?
she went through the proper aspects. The key on this one is if you look at your consent agenda, you will see where she is in here, and this is why we're not having that conversation. That's why.
Okay.
Anything to add, Christine?
No.
Didn't think so.
But
Is there gonna be a time that I am made aware, or do I have to go figure this out on my own?
No,
Or should I just not care?
If you read your personnel report, there's an action item in there for you all. It has to do with a probationary employee termination recommendation.
That's kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I see that, and I did look at this, but like, how would I know that that's any different than any other of these?
Speaking abstractly, it's not appropriate to discuss individual employment matters in a board meeting. And it's also not appropriate for us to discuss the background information with the board. So, if there were a situation where we did need to do that and it was appropriate, we would go into closed session to protect the privacy of the people involved. You saw, let's see, hypothetically, you could have an employee come in and want to address the board during public comment. And, then I think you can see where the value is in the board not engaging in discourse with that employee. They are allowed to come in and share their concerns or, in some cases, make compliments to programs like you heard tonight. But if we go further than that, like Mr. Tennis said, you do get into the area of an unnoticed action item or agenda item for information. So it can seem very, kind of like there's a dichotomy there, and it sometimes doesn't seem logical, but there is a reason for it. So.
Sounds good. Perfect. All right. Back to the consent agenda. So in your board report, you'll see the personnel report, minutes of previous meetings, claims, warrants, out of district students. I don't think we have anything sheets today, so no district. We do very good here. Let's see, one thing she was there.
So a couple highlights on the consent agenda. Congratulations and a thank you to Mel Cohen, who has submitted a letter for retirement, 25 years in the district. High caliber special education teacher, and that will be a void for us to fill for sure. We have some additional hours listed on for our district mentoring program. So our mentors and our mentees meet monthly. This is approval for the entire school year for those meetings, and then approved some hours for special education, Montana alternative assessment training, rather than impact the day, which could impact students. I approved some after hours training so that they can do that.
Sounds good.
I would just like to second what Superintendent Tennis said. Mel is an outstanding case manager and special ed teacher. Tons of people learn from her. She's a great mentor. She'll be driven with us. So congratulations to her, but it's a huge role.
Good. Okay. Any other comments, questions? All right.
Yeah, I have a comment again.
Absolutely.
Like this is since June, every meeting we've had additional work time. I talked to Mr. Tennis about this. It seems like we're operating the district in a manner in which we can't do it with our current staff under their current job descriptions. And so in order to do it, we have to approve additional work time. And maybe I'm misunderstanding something, maybe I don't know. I'm asking if our other board members have any thoughts on this or see it differently or see it the same way.
I see it differently. A lot of these things that come up and stuff like that are special needs of the district at certain times. Some of them are not necessarily ones that you can forecast and so forth. So to me, these are abilities for the superintendent and the principals to determine if there's needed extra time to get these people paid to do a job that's required. So I see it quite differently than that we don't have things. These are, especially some of these, statewide assessments, that kind of stuff, all that kind of stuff. These are things that we don't, we're not forecasting for per se, but it gives you the flexibility for these individuals to give payment for these extra hours.
We don't know we're going to be doing statewide assessments.
It's depending on how much, what may be changing. I'm speaking for you.
Yeah, no, and I think it's making the decision on, an individual basis on the individual merits of the request, I think is the appropriate way to do that. And honestly, the work's got to get done. And if we don't do this, then the work doesn't get done, or it has an impact somewhere that is, for example, we could have done something different and done some duty leave time, and then had teachers out of class rather than working with students to get that stuff done. So
that stuff being
the assessment training.
The training to give a test.
Yeah.
Not part of professional development.
There are options to put it there, but we had professional development time that was already scheduled.
I'm just raising, I remember a couple of years, I don't know when it was, but there was an approval for hiring someone to come in and do a presentation on standards-based grading. And that was funding and all that, and we approved it. And I don't know if we're doing standards-based grading. Are we?
That is part of our transformational learning grant that we're applying for. And so we have aspects of standards-based grading, not necessarily fully developed, but initiated in a lot of different areas.
So that is a transition, so I'm just not aware of that.
Yeah, because I mean,
Dave, as a board member, I'm not aware of that, but that's the direction we're going.
That's something that we've been working on.
But as a board member, I'm just unaware that that is something that we're doing. Okay.
Well, and I think it's gone both ways, where there are times where we have questioned the additional work time, and we've came up with alternative ideas to do that. And then there are times that we have approved it. So it has gone where we've gone different ways.
Right, and I see that there can be times when that happens, but it's been June, July, August, September, October, and now, never mind, we're still on October.
No, I get the perspective and it does give me pause when the request comes in, because honestly, I know what feelings are out there about the additional time, but the consequence of not approving this is the work doesn't get done. And that stops progress.
Sure, and that's the conversation, like why with our current staff and with our current job descriptions, can the work not get done? That's the conversation I'd like to have. Not that we shouldn't pay our teachers, because I want to pay our teachers. I think our teachers deserve to be paid more. I think there's probably some teachers that probably need to go. And I know there's reasons why that's challenging to do, but in general, I think most of our teachers are quite good. I wish we could pay them more. And that's the goal. And I just think this is a slippery slope. And I've heard arguments about, well, it's outside the contract hours. And, you know, having been a teacher, like I couldn't do all of my lesson plans, my grading, my homework, and all this stuff in my 90-minute prep period every day. There's just no way. And so you start doing this, and eventually someone's going to say, well, I can't do all my job, and my dad needs more hour pay. And then we're just moving down a slippery slope. It looks like to me. And maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So what is that? I mean, to go on with mine, just to clarify it, all the process is say one of these teachers needs to do something that is considered above and beyond the outside normal paid hours or something like that. They just submit
goes through their administrator.
Goes to the principal, they say, I need an extra 2 hours because I can't get whatever I'm trying to do done. And then it comes here and then we approve it for the extra 2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's already come through two people that think it's warranted.
Right, so if it's something that, you know, the administrator, the direct supervisor doesn't support, then it would never make it to.
I think that, and maybe I'm speaking for somebody I shouldn't be speaking for, but I've talked to Mike quite a bit. I think that sometimes what it feels like is we're just randomly approving crap that we don't know very much about. And so sometimes it doesn't feel like we're being very responsible and just, okay, yes, I'm in favor of it, but I have no idea what Ms. Anthony needed extra time for, but maybe I don't need to know because you know, so why do I need to know? But then when we're asked to approve it, it feels like I'm approving something that I don't really know. So am I being responsible? Am I not being responsible? I don't know.
Well, those things that are actually contractual stipends.
Yeah.
So those are in the contract. So if they teach a dual enrollment class or an AP class, they get additional stipend for their contract, and that's the actual, this happens every year for those people.
Yeah, and I asked Mr. Tennis that question, well, then why are we approving something that's already been contractually agreed to? That doesn't, and when you say these things, there's more on there than that one.
No, I'm just talking about my stuff.
Yeah, but and if it's on there and we've already approved it, then there's no reason to vote on it. And well, I'm looking at the mentor mentees, which I think is a great idea. And I would have not made it as a teacher if I didn't have two teachers who really helped guide me. And there was no organization to that. It's like when I was struggling, I just went in their classroom and asked for help, and where they came in and saw me needing help and offered it. And that was amazing, and I wouldn't have been able to be a teacher without them, and I don't think they submitted a time card for that. And I certainly didn't submit a time card for the time that they were helping me. And so I hear you saying things need to be done, that we don't pay this, the work doesn't get done. But from my experience as a teacher, mentors and mentees are extremely valuable. It's not work that needs to be done or the school doesn't function. That's how the school
Well,
actually.
it does need to be done.
Done per our Title II, though, requirements.
Yeah, it's an
Like, when we
accreditation.
do our E-grant through the state for Title II, that is one of the things that they look at is, do we have a mentor-mentee program? And that's how that also gets paid for, is with that grant funding. And they expect that we are doing that, and that's where that money comes from. The state testing that's on there, we have a brand new state test this year for the alternative assessment. I did the training myself. I saw how long it was gonna take. I talked to those teachers and came to the agreement with them, and of course, talked to Mr. Tennis about this before we fully agreed, but that them being out of their classrooms for 2 hours is just, because it's our behavior programs, it's really hard. And I can go in and help, but to have that consistency in there, but they have to, the state makes us do this training every year, and they determine the timeline when it comes out. I don't.
Just to briefly address Eli's question or comment about the board being asked to make decisions on things where they don't have the granular detail. Just reminding you all back to Megan's board training where she described that, you know, these administrative decisions are really in the purview of Mr. Tennis as superintendent. And so, you know, as you've discovered through this discussion process, which is great, these decisions usually go through multiple layers of consideration. So at the administrator level and then up to Mr. Tennis, then his job is to make that recommendation. And what you've hired him for is to make those recommendations. But then on the other end, to also be responsible for the consequences of those recommendations. So it really isn't on you to, you know, feel that weight of, I don't really understand the granular detail of some of these more commonplace or administrative functions. Just to kind of go back to that chain of command type of a thought process on it.
Any other discussion?
Just one other piece, the dual credit stuff, the reason that that's listed there is that may not be the same every year. And so there may be some teachers that do not have a dual credit course that they're teaching, so they may not get it next year because they're not teaching that dual credit, but this year they're getting it. So that is a way for us to notify you and notify the public that these are our people that are teaching a dual credit class and they qualify for that additional stipend.
And that's on the blue bargaining agreement, so.
And so after your approval, then they will receive contracts with the amounts.
All right, any other discussion, any other comments, questions?
I would just like to speak on behalf of the teachers that this list is not teachers just saying, I worked and graded for 3 hours this weekend, you need to pay me. Like, this is all additional work that is outside of our normal classroom duties. And the majority of teachers, I'm gonna say 99% of the teachers in our district, gladly put in extra time. They're coming in early, they're working late. I'm keeping track of just hours I'm spending outside of my normal workday on just grading essays and notebooks. I have 11 hours logged so far this year. I'm not gonna charge the school for that. But I think there's maybe a misconception, like teachers are not just going around namby-pamby saying, you need to pay me more for this stuff. It's because our admins are asking us to do these trainings and things of that sort, or setting up and taking down library before and after the school year. Like, it's not the day-to-day stuff. So I just want to speak on behalf of teachers, like teachers are not trying to manipulate the system. And the majority of our teachers are putting in a lot of extra hours that people aren't seeing and people aren't noticing. And they're not asking for 30, 15, 3 hours every week. So I just feel that that's an important thing to speak on behalf of our teachers.
I appreciate that, and part of my goal is to get us to a place as we operate in the district so our teachers can focus on being teachers. not doing all the extra asks that have to come down because of how we're deciding to operate.
Like, I think that part of that is like some of it happening outside the school day and then paying them to do that so that when they're at school, they can focus. Like the mentor-mentee program is really important to me personally because I, like you, would not have made it in a career without a great mentor. But we don't have the capacity to make that happen really inside the school day. So really trying to support our new teachers as they come into the district so that they want to stay and want to be here is really important to me.
And one more thing, it's recognizing the value that they bring. They're sometimes the best people to do what we're asking them to do, or what we need done. And we can't necessarily outsource it to another employee or to another person on a team. So asking them and valuing them and saying, we recognize that this doesn't fall within your normal scope of duty, but we appreciate what you're doing, your willingness to do it, and we value your time and respect you. And so that's a part of our culture that I think we're known for and respected for. We value people, and that's not doing that leads to resentment, leads to toxicity, and leads to lack of that extra that Kristen's talking about that exists, the willingness to do extra, because we have a willingness culturally, historically, to recognize that hard work and pay our teachers for the extra hours and extra time. We did that during COVID in a way that a lot of school districts didn't, and I think it helped us through the pandemic in a different way. So I think that's a really important component as well.
Excellent. Okay, all good? Any other questions, comments, all that good stuff? All right, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? So, can I get a second? Second. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. All right, on old business, so district building long-term, things, we just leave it on there just in case.
Leave it on there just in case,
Just in
but
case.
there's no information for you tonight.
Fantastic, we'll keep moving on. The 22 audit, unfortunately, not done yet, so we're going to,
I was holding my breath.
We're supposed to be this week, right, Kathy? It's supposed to be this week.
Supposed to be this week.
I've heard that for a while.
I know you.
We'll move on to November. Yeah, exactly. All right, so, okay, we'll move on to new business. First one's a pretty easy one, I think. Approval for the out-of-state travel for the Classroom Without Walls to Yellowstone. Can I get a motion to approve that travel request?
So moved.
Can I get a second? Second. Excellent. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Next one is approval to hold and enter a rental agreement with the Flying Horse Corvallis to have the prom on March 21st, 2026. Can I get a motion to approve that? Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Same place we went last year. Great thing is that the bathroom's redone, so we won't be in porta potties. Christine went through the contract. It really is a nice facility to hold it. It's already partially decorated. It saves our junior class a lot of time. And it's a really nice venue for us.
Same contract with some safety upgrades, so it was very kind of them to offer that this year.
Excellent. So, sounds good. All right. Got a motion, got a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. All right, next one is the authorization to purchase pillars for the retractable wall at the high school, excess of policy 7320. Go for it.
We need to do some preliminary work to be able to install our wall. So the consequence of not doing this is the wall sits in storage. And we get this in place, then we put the wall in and we have a flexible classroom, right, Mr. Lewis?
Yep, and the classroom we're missing in it for flexible, so yes.
It is, the quote is in here, it's like 16 or 17,000.
The wall's like 32.
We already paid for the wall, right?
We pay for the wall.
The wall.
Just can't use it without a pillar.
Yeah,
There, we have the wall.
yes.
Carts and horses. Yeah, 17,125.
It's expensive.
It was just a miss in the process.
Yes.
So we had other options we were looking at one time with like beam in that cost the same amount, plus I had to take out a window and a whole bunch of other things that the cost was a wash. This is the same company, so it's all paid for, don't have to find a contractor to put in the beam and all this other stuff and take out the window, put it back in, and a lot of extra stuff. There's one that it was kind of there and then they had us go backwards. It's kind of what happened on that one.
Sounds good. All right, can I get a motion to approve the purchase of these pillars?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Next one is approval of a fixed-term clinical fellow supervision employment contract with a speech language pathologist, Taylor Potter.
And you actually have two of these in a row. We have two different supervisors. One is, they're different contracts. One is an employee in the Missoula School District, so we're using a coaching style contract for that. So this is a requirement for pre-licensure. So having supervision hours is, I support that we get this approved.
$1,500, it looks like, correct?
Yeah.
What's a coaching contract exactly?
Well, it's the same format. Yeah, it's a fixed term to get the hours in.
You paid for the season.
Yes, yep. To make sure that the hours are covered.
Yeah, it's essentially a stipend for that particular person because like the next one is for Rock Creek, which is the company that we used last year for our online speech language pathologist. She charges me by the hour, but I needed to find someone. The person who works there that is doing it is amazing and will be a wonderful mentor to the speech language pathologist. The girl who's doing it in Missoula was happy to take $1,500 for the school year, which in my opinion is a bargain because it's a lot of hours that they put in to do this. And it's a lot of things they have to do as a requirement, so then they can get their license, their actual speech language pathologist license for next school year.
Sounds good. Perfect. Can I get a motion to approve this agreement for the employment contract? Can I get a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Next one is basically the same thing, but is with our Rock Creek teletherapy. So any comments, questions? If not, can I get a motion to approve this service agreement?
So moved.
Can I get a second? Second. Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Okay, next one is out-of-state travel for Mr. Lewis to attend the Civic Lab Conference in Indianapolis, November 10th through the 14th. Lucky you to go to Indianapolis in November. This is to replace Mr. Wells, who went last time.
It has other pressing business.
He has other pressing business, very pressing business.
Pressing business. Maybe on the way.
Maybe on the way.
Maybe hopefully in that time frame, so.
Way to take one for the team, Marlon.
Thanks. Yeah, but this one
Yeah, you
is,
gotta go to Florida. I'm going to Indianapolis.
this is paid for by the grant.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
all this is paid for through the Civics Lab grant, University of Montana Collaborations, workforce development falls right into what we're trying to accomplish, our partnerships with UM. It's really good dedicated time to work with the folks at U of M and the Council on Aging and the Chamber. Formerly Bitter Health, but they're still engaged in the process. And then, yeah, there's teams from all over the country working on similar initiatives. So it's really interesting to be able to engage in conversations on a national level at these conferences and learn about what other towns, rural towns, although we're the most rural by far, are doing to address workforce needs and early childhood care, so child care as well.
Excellent. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve this out-of-state travel? Motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, the next one, so you were asking about committees, if they're off this one, we do have negotiations committee, so this is what we're doing. So this is consideration for approval of the matrix placement for 7 certified staff members conditioned upon employment verification, blah, 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 you can read it all, I don't have to say the whole thing. So, Mr. Jones, you want to-
This is the final application of the negotiation process, and really what we're recognizing is K-12 accredited experience that wasn't recognized earlier for this group of 7 staff members.
This was discussed at the last negotiations committee meeting.
Yes. So this is the final step.
So, can I get a motion to approve this adjustment?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. All right, the next one. So, just a we're going to do this all in one, okay? So this is
I will
request
read each
approval of
one individually.
request approval of the Montana Data Privacy Agreement. So basically what this boils down to is that we do this all the time for all these aspects, and Mr. Shack can tell me. But because we did a ton of them during the COVID things, all of them have now expired. And so now we're doing this again to things because they expire after a term.
Typically about 5 years.
Yeah, so, and so
This
this
is all your fault here. Take complete responsibility.
Okay, so all of these are basically, so what you're seeing is you'll see all of these different vendors that we, all these different platforms and so forth that we deal with. You will see on the right side why there's all these school districts. That's the master school. That's the one that basically has it. And we're just, either, we're just basically jumping on their contract too.
Does Go Noodle have anything to do with ramen?
I don't know.
It does not.
Darn it. So, you'll see a couple of them are ours, obviously, but a lot of them are other school districts that we've just basically joined in. So, it really, there's no money involved with this. This is a requirement from the state to say that we have Montana data privacy. That was a legislative item, not this one, but the previous
There's also
one.
federal law that
Yeah.
helps with too.
So all of that good stuff. So I am not going to read A through W. But if, can I get a motion to approve the Montana data privacy through A through W here?
Motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any comments, questions, anything like that? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. If you want to read each one of them, they're right here. There's both. So, all right. So next one, consideration of contract with the state of Montana Office of the Court Administrator in 2022. This is the Cali program through June 30th, 2026.
Yeah, just some language modifications that Christina is working on, and we have the final version of the contract. So this is a contract with the state. The value could be up to $37,000, and we submit for reimbursement depending on the number of students that we serve.
Sounds good. Can I get a motion to approve this contract with 21st Judicial District?
So.
Can I get a second? Okay, any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Okay, next one is something we've done for a while now. It's the approval for the out-of-state travel for the 4th grade to go to a total of 3 trips, which is awesome. Added more. March 13th, 16th, that's going to be very cold.
They'll all be cold.
They'll all be
Yellowstone.
Yeah, April 24th and May 8th, 11th. So can I get a motion to approve the out-of-state travel for the 4th grade? Can I get a second? Okay, any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Okay, next one is enter a contract with the Montana School for the Deaf and Blind for consultative outreach services.
An agreement to, as a resource, the Montana School for the Deaf and Blind for us when necessary. They have moved from a direct service model to a consultation type model. And I don't know if Wendy wants to add anything to that, but
I don't know a lot about it yet. We're gonna do a webinar next week and so I only know what was in that email. Sorry.
that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, a resource for us when we have students that have visual impairment or hearing deficits. This is a good resource for us to get some advice.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve this contract with the Montana School for the Deaf and Blind? Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, all right, any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. All right, charter school, we always have this in here, and that's kind of what we have to have, but we've already got the charter school information. Second reading, so policy update 4520. Go for it.
Yeah, 4520 just essentially allows us to, in certain circumstances, partner with other districts. And it's pretty broad authority. You can be creative with the way that you use these things, but it would essentially involve creating pooled money to accomplish certain projects or certain services. So no plans to use it right now, but I think most of the other districts in the valley have gone to this model in their policies. So just having the option would be a good idea for us in the future.
Any questions, concerns?
So is that like sports teams and stuff, or what, get them confused on
It
the whole party?
kind of can be what you define, I think, co-op type services is one idea, projects is another, I think student.
You could
workouts.
share teachers, you could share A and B, you know, if somebody goes to another district for one course. So there's a lot of, it's basically sharing of any or all resources. And then funding would go into the multi-district agreement. So it would still have to come in front of us.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. If not, can I get a motion to approve this policy, 4520? Can I get a second? Second. Okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. The next one is a first reading, but this you want to approve before that, right? So, yeah, so this is a changing of the financial management policy 7320. So to basically give the superintendent a little bit more leeway here. Instead of having only $10,000 to play with, basically, he has $50,000 to play with.
Looks like he has 150.
Yeah, there's good crossouts there, so it says 50,000. So, but the price of things, otherwise, you know, he's waiting for us to approve things, so it gives him a little more flexibility and stuff like that. If we can go to second reading,
Wasn't it what it was at before? We changed it down.
we did change it down, but there was before, so we did have a lot more flexibility before, so.
It was changed down when we got the new policy updates across the board, so that was just kind of like an edit that happened. There wasn't really any intention in that, it was just kind of when Colorado law revamped our policies, it defaulted back to 10, like it was.
So, anybody have any inkling to go to second reading? If not, can I get a motion to approve this financial management? Okay. So moved. Any, a second? Second. Awesome. All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Excellent.
Don't get him, Dave.
All right. That's it. Good. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. Thank you. Big slip.